12 on Voice of the People, 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Mwachuku.
And my name is Ijeoma Innocent. These are the top stories. Betta arrives at EFCC headquarters over 585 million naira scandal. Court adjourns Nnamdi Kanu's 1 billion naira suit against the federal government and the DSS till March 4th. EFCC set to appeal 100 million naira fine over violation of Emefiele's rights.
Now, Interior Minister responds to contract award allegations, denies affiliation with company. Federal government inaugurates committee to tackle fake degrees today. And on stories outside the shores of Nigeria, dozens killed in Gaza as Blinken urges protection for civilians. Details now. The world news begins with the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta, arriving at the headquarters of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in Abuja. Edu will meet with the EFCC investigators to make clarifications over the alleged payment of 585.189 million naira grant meant for vulnerable groups in Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Ogun, and Lagos states into a private account. You'll recall that the anti-graft agency had invited Edu to its headquarters on Monday, following a presidential directive from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu ordering her suspension and investigation. Now, a top source in the anti-graft commission disclosed to reporters that the minister had been invited in line with President Tinubu's directive that a thorough probe be conducted covering her time in the ministry. The source also revealed that an official invitation by the commission had already been sent to the suspended minister to clarify some issues in her ministry. He said the EFCC had earlier recommended the immediate suspension of the minister in order to pave the way for the ongoing investigation of the alleged corruption. Meanwhile, the Federal High Court in Abuja has scheduled additional proceedings for March 4 in a new 1 billion naira lawsuit brought by Nnamdi Kanu, the incarcerated leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, against the federal government and 3 other defendants. The named defendants of the suit include the Attorney General of the Federation, the Department of State Services, and its Director General. Now, Justice James Omotosho, however, adjourned the hearing in the Fundamental Rights Enforcement suit to a later date due to the absence of the applicant's lawyer. During the case mentioned, no legal representative announced an appearance for the applicant, whereas the respondents were represented by 2 lawyers. Simon informed the court that his client had only received the hearing notice and had not been served with the originating processes of the suit. After hearing from the lawyers, Justice Omotosho adjourned the case to March 4 for further proceedings. He also directed that a hearing notice be issued and served on the applicant. Meanwhile, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, disclosed it will appeal the 100 million naira fine imposed on it by the Federal High Court, Abuja, over the violation of the rights of a former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Cardinal Emefiele. Emefiele had instituted a fundamental human rights suit against the agency, the federal government, and the Attorney General of the Federation. On Monday, the court ordered the EFCC and the federal government to pay the former CBN chairman the sum of 100 million naira for violating his rights. But hours after the judgment, the EFCC expressed dismay over the development, saying Emefiele's detention was in line with the law. In a statement by the EFCC spokesman, Dele Oyewole, he expressed dissatisfaction with the court, or rather the judgment of the court. He explained that the decision failed to take cognizance of the fact that the former CBN chairman was held with a valid court order, explaining that the anti-graft agency will approach the Court of Appeal to set it aside in due course.
In another development, Interior Minister Olubunmi Tunji Ojo has distanced himself from claims of owning a company awarded the contract by the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta. Now, some media reports had claimed that a firm allegedly owned by the minister had gotten 438 million naira as consultancy fees from the suspended Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, Betta. But Olubunmi has denied owning the firm, saying he is not a signatory to the company. He explained that he had founded the company alongside his wife but resigned owing to his political ambition. He further explained that he came into public office with a commitment to base his service on sincerity of purpose and openness. Now, the federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Education, will today set up an Inter-Ministerial Committee to combat the activities of degree mills. The ministry's Director of Press and Public Relations, Ben Gung, made this known in a notice sent to journalists in Abuja. The notice revealed that the Education Minister, Professor Tahir Mamman, will this afternoon inaugurate an Inter-Ministerial Committee on degree mills. This follows a report which exposed the illegalities perpetrated by some tertiary institutions in the West African state led to the Nigerian government placing a ban on the accreditation and evaluation of degrees from Benin Republic and Togo. The Education Minister later said the federal government would further extend its searchlight to institutions in other African countries such as Ghana. Also, the National Universities Commission, the regulatory body of universities in Nigeria, revealed that no fewer than 18 out of the 58 universities whose operations have been suspended in Nigeria are foreign-owned.
All right, we actually have the telephone, a legal practitioner, a political and social affairs commentator, and that is Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid. Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, good afternoon and welcome to the World News at 12. Happy New Year to you once again. This is the first time we're interviewing you on the World News right here on VOP 90.3 FM. Barrister Tunji, can you hear me?
Good afternoon.
All right, thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Barrister Tunji. Happy New Year to you. Hello?
Hello, I said good afternoon.
All right, thank you so much.
It's my pleasure to be with you. Happy New Year.
Tunji, we're talking about the Betta Edu situation. She has actually asked in terms of the situation with what is currently ongoing concerning the misappropriation of funds and funneling of an amount of money to her personal account. Well, the EFCC has invited her for questioning. Yesterday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, through his spokesperson Ajuru Ngelale, asked that Betta Edu resign from her position. However, there is a lot. Okay, this is basically what is ongoing. Edu did not find the directive palatable. In fact, she had started blackmailing the government, claiming she gave money to the Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, and others in the presidency from her ministry, and she cannot be treated as an outsider. She also claimed that if the president was not subjected to an investigation by the APC when he was accused of certificate forgery and drug crimes in the US ahead of the 2023 presidential elections, why should she be investigated and now asked to resign? All right, so right now, Gbajabiamila, Olubunmi Tunji, and few persons close to the president are being asked to lobby for her for a soft landing. What's your take on this situation?
Esther, I am not aware that information is official. I think it's an allegation on this social media regarding Chief of Staff and that the Chief of Staff was involved in it.
Okay.
The issue of allegation against Olubunmi Ojo was not raised by the former minister. It was given independent information from another quarter to expose the fact that, look, it was his company also benefited from this. So I'm not sure that was information from the former minister, the suspended minister. The suspended structural minister, I'm not aware he has named anybody to being part of this scandal. That is what I want to put out in that regard. That's my own understanding of that issue. I am aware that there's an allegation against Olubunmi Ojo regarding a company being used to obtain contract in that regard. And he came yesterday. He said, even though for me what he's saying is not too different. He said he's no longer a director, but he's also a shareholder. So if you're a shareholder, who shares? Is it the director that shares? Who controls the directors? You know the shareholders. The shareholders are the one that controls the director. The directors are just there to manage the affairs for the shareholders. So as far as I'm concerned, in as much as there must be an investigation to show whether or not the process of acquiring that contract was legally obtained by Olubunmi Ojo. Regarding the Chief of Staff, let's cross our fingers and hear more. We have not the suspended minister has not told us openly, or he has not made any press conference to that regard or issue any statement to that regard. So as far as I'm concerned, I will still consider that as an allegation or a mere.
All right, Barrister Tunji, I see what you do, but that's actually true. It's still an allegation for now until based on the investigations carried out by the EFCC, then we can affirm if indeed those confirmations or those expressions are actually real. But don't you think there is a possibility that that could be so? You do know that there was a debacle concerning President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's certificate situation, and of course, right now with what is ongoing, a lot of Nigerians are saying that he is the crop of the matter. He is actually the one who started off this process of having a platform where nothing is about accountability, objectivity, or neutrality. So would you blame Nigerians for having this line of thought concerning the situation with Betta 8 months into the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu?
Esther, I want to tell you this. The truth, I was forcing myself to hear what you were saying. I had Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I didn't know what the link or the information regarding that.
No,
but
I
if
said,
talking about
can you hear me now?
Suspended minister's scandal.
Yes.
I think for me that is I am not surprised that we are having scandal in that ministry. I am one of those who believe that look, any attempt to share money in the country is a way of stealing money. Because there is no way you can share money in the country where there is no proper verifiable data to determine who the beneficiary will be. There is no way you will be sharing money, whether electronically or by hand or by cash, that there won't be corruption in it. You can't verify the distribution of the cash. And in any event, for me, you cannot even grow an economy by distributing cash to people. How can you be sharing to? If you see, sometimes you don't look at this thing in generality. They will say they are spending 20,000 naira, 20,000 naira. If you calculate the amount they will tell you they spend in that sharing, it will be run to trillions or billions of naira. That means money can be used to benefit the society of Nigeria. Think that those even that are giving 20K to will even use for now and in the future. They will even be collecting money from it daily, and they will be. What they are being shared now, it will only be for a day or two or even an hour. And that will be the end of it, and you won't see the impact in our nation or in our development. So as far as I'm concerned, if you allow a system which allow individuals to have access to cash or to have access to money to share to people without any proper certification, it's just a confirmation of go and see. So for me, I am not surprised, and it's what has happened today again regarding the suspended minister is to confirm that corruption is not about age, it's not about gender, it's not about where you come from. It's in our nature. It's very early for him to even engage in this. I'm not saying she has not denied it anyway that allegation was correct, that she attempted to transfer or other transfer 500 million naira to a private account, which is contrary to the law. We are aware that there is a law of Financial Act Regulation 2009, Section 713 of that law, to prohibit an individual, a public money being sent to a private account, or a private money sent into a public account, and when that is done, you see as an attempt to defraud. Okay. Except you are not to pay a contractor, which has been verified. That is when you can pay government money into a private account. But in this instance, these are civil servants. You are paying money into another person who is doing this. As far as I'm concerned, it's an attempt to. You can even imagine that another allegation against her regarding attempt to go to Kogite, to go to Kogite, 72 million naira. Okay. So a month to go and share 20K. You are sharing 20,000 to people, and those who are sharing the money are taking as much as a million.
All right, Barrister. I still have one more question on the Betta situation.
And you are budgeting 90K to Kogite. This is the way a manner will do corruption in this country.
Thank you, Barrister.
For me, I'm not surprised that we're having this out in that ministry. It's not only in that ministry alone. Most of the ministry, this is what goes on. There is this corruption everywhere. And unfortunately for us, we have a president whose credibility is even in question.
Barrister Tunji, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yes, Barrister, I do have one more question on the Betta Edu situation before we move on to other issues in the news this afternoon. Right now, it seems that Betta is naming names in an attempt to actually grasp at whatever she can so that she will not be prosecuted, right? We do know that she was denied access to the presidential villa yesterday just after her suspension was made public. And last night, the Senate Chief Whip, Senator Ali Ndume, came up to say that there are cabals and cartels forming
Can you please come again? I can't tell that. I'm not hearing what you're saying.
Can you hear me better now, Barrister?
The thing is, it's echoing. I don't know why. That echo is echoing.
Is it better now? Is it better now?
What do you say?
Is it better now, Barrister?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Thank you so much. So we're still on the Betta Edu situation, right? It would seem that she's trying to grasp at straws. It would seem that these are the last kicks of a drowning man or woman. In this case, we do know that she was denied access to the presidential villa yesterday when she attempted to see the president after her suspension was made public. Last night, Senate Chief Whip Senator Ali Ndume came up to say that cabals and cartels are forming within the presidency, and he does not believe that Betta Edu acted alone. It would seem that this is actually true right now. But can cabals and cartels form within the presidency without the president himself having knowledge of it? And also, this is one thing that critics and analysts alike have agreed that have commended the president for doing. It would seem that he's actually fighting corruption as it is right now. Is this something that would expect to continue with his administration?
I hear you clearly. I was talking about the step taken by the president or attempts to
form cabals within the presidency. Yes.
The president has no choice than to do what he has done, because the president is struggling to get that validity from the people. He wants to be in the good book of the people, Nigerians, because if you recall, in the last election, even though he won the election by highest number of votes, it's only the majority number of votes. If you combine the votes of the two second and third position candidates, they are more than his own, which means that more people voted against him than those who voted for him. So, and people also not believe that there are some people who still don't believe that that election that was maneuver. So those issues are still there, and the president is trying to find his way into the heart of Nigeria. So. And you can see everybody they shouted about it, they made noise about it, and then the president has no choice than to do what he has done. I tell you, if the president were to have a choice, probably that thing would not have happened. If we have a president who enjoys validity of the people, probably that will not happen. Probably he won't be suspended. The president has no choice than to do what he has done, and the president has the obligation to fight corruption. But whether or not the president will have the capacity to fight that corruption bearing in his own baggage. Because whether you like it or not, there are a lot of allegations on the president regarding corruption. So whether it has been clear or has not been clear, whether the court has decided on it or not, that I didn't say he has been convicted as an allegation. There are allegations against the president of corruption. So that toga of he's also corrupt is there, and that will not make the president be able to, whatever the president is doing, people will still not believe that is doing the right thing. For me, I think I don't see the suspended minister coming back to that position.
Okay.
And if she has to come back, I think a lot of questions will have to be asked. Because he did not deny the fact that happened. Yeah. And again, the Accountant General also came out to say, look, she seek for this approval.
No. Barrister Tunji, she did deny, but she defended. Barrister Tunji, she did not deny, but she defended. She said she's fighting corruption. She said her administration is fighting corruption. In fact, she has been coming up with several stories or with defense mechanisms in order to defend what happened.
Yeah, she did say she did not give in when the minister asked her to pay that money into the private account.
No, you're talking about the AGF. The AGF said she did not actually accept or affirm that whatever. I'm talking about Betta Edu. Betta Edu has been defending what she's been, the reason she says the ministry is fighting corruption. Now, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, I need to ask you something, because I know that there are a lot of critics against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration. Like you rightly said, the certificate forgery saga is a talisman, a negative talisman on his plain sheet or supposed colored sheet. But the thing is this: would you not say or attribute to the fact that the president actually listens? I mean, compared to the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, who acted nonchalant in most instances. And then when things like this happen, there's an outcry and nothing happens. So would you give credence to the president for actually listening to the people and doing the needful in asking her to step aside and commencing investigations immediately?
Yeah, I've said it there. I've said that this current president has no choice to do what he did. You know, the former president enjoyed that seemingly uncorruptible status. People see him as not corrupt. So even if he's not doing anything, people will still believe it's not because he wanted to cover up corruption. They will believe he's doing what he wants to do. You know, our former president, people before they realized, or probably maybe they were mischievous at that time.
Okay.
That our president was not even interested in governing the country. They were just interested in being a president and being called Mr. President. Yeah, that's why he looks away whenever anything happens. He do a lot of things under him, and then he looks away. I won't see anything. So for me, it cannot be, like I said, I don't clap for things that you're supposed to do. If you are doing what you're supposed to do, I cannot be clapping for you because you are presenting news on OAP, 12 news or whatever news, the world news now. Should I be clapping for you for coming to the job and presenting that job? His job is to do the right thing. So if he's doing the right thing, it's not for me to be clapping and saying, or you see, when we try to start comparing bad thing with bad thing, or somebody who has not done anything extra with somebody who also not do anything at all, we are just making it look like a hero, and that's why you see a minister that is just doing 1% of his job, and people will be clapping and say he's the best minister.
But for
me, as far as I'm concerned, comparing the step taken by president and the current president, yes, it's good. That is normal way. That's what is normal thing to do.
Do you think, we're running out of time, all right? We're running out of time. We're running out of time. This attitude with our public officers and ministers, it's not today. This kind of attribute, all right, it runs deep. It's from time immemorial. They always say that 99 days for the thief or 1 day for the owner. So these things happen. Unfortunately, when we don't get to know about it, or like this memo that happened now, we wouldn't know that this happened. But this has always been the system. Other critics believe that after the campaign of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that some of the ministers who helped to ensure that they were able to mobilize support for him, that this is their own way of trying to cash out or try to make money. Others believe that this investigation may not head anywhere. Maybe we wouldn't actually know or get a blueprint of what happens or what is being confirmed after the investigation. So do you think that after the EFCC is done, they would actually respond to the public, public wanting to know what the result is or the conclusion of the investigation? Or will one of those we're investigating and after a while another story comes up and overshadows it and then nobody talks about it anymore?
Esther, let me tell you the truth. Let me tell you my own position.
Okay.
My position is that, they say investigation is going on. Yes, there may be a report thereafter. In fact, it may even be the worst that will happen in this case is for her to go as a minister, which I don't believe you. I don't think she will be returned back to as minister. She will lose her job as minister, and then thereafter. They may likely even take it to court to placate the people. Okay. And then you won't hear anything thereafter in court, and that will be the end of the case. Because you see, and we are having corruption going on in our country this one. Because people who have been alleged of corruption are not being punished. Babati Lawal was taken to court. I said at that time that case was just a mere kangaroo just to cover up. And today, what are you hearing? Nothing. Those who have been alleged or who have been pursued have been corrupt like during Jonathan by the last administration, which this administration, some of them are part of it. Some of them are back in the APC now, and they're enjoying freedom. Some of them are alleged to have stolen a lot of money. They were being told that they stole the Nigeria dry. Today, some of them are back in APC. Recently, Mr. Ozamentu is back in APC. We know how Mr. Ozamentu was a drag by the past administration for corruption. Yet, so there is no way corruption will not continue, because what we see is that people will just there will be allegation and there won't be any punishment for anybody. Nothing will happen thereafter.
Wow.
Edu will go and enjoy herself after, though she will lose her status as a minister, then she will still be part of. In fact, she may even be getting contract underneath. Getting some other things.
All right, Barrister Tunji, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time
that will corporate corruption in this country. We are not at all.
Thank
we need to punish people for for wrongdoing. Otherwise, people will not be deterred from doing the wrong.
True. Thank you so much, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid, for your time and having to give us your perception on the issue, specifically on Betta Edu on the World News at 12.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome. Chuma, would you say it's surprising with this recent development? Because I don't know if I expect any outcome from the investigation. This is basically what is hot in the news at the moment, right? And like I said earlier, while I was asking Barrister Tunji, that it's a normal practice for most of our politicians, specifically some of our ministers. Unfortunately for Betta Edu, she became, the scapegoat this time around. But, for other people feel that the fact that the presidency listened to the people, there was an outcry, there was a space being held. People were saying in a sane climb, you do not have the minister remain on board as the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs if you have such financial indictment against her and she's still occupying that position. I mean, nobody's going to respect the administration. So don't you think this is a +1 for President Tinubu?
I think it is quite commendable, as analysts and critics alike have been saying yesterday. It is quite commendable that he took that proactive step to do something. It's not like Buhari's administration where there would be outcry, there would be outrage, but at the end of the day, he would come out. He was always so oblivious and he would just express shock. We learned not to expect too much from him. But as it is right now, I'm glad that the president has taken the step, but would like him to take it a step further. Don't just arrest and investigate, but prosecute. And if you're going to make someone an example, make them a thorough example and let everyone else know that you cannot just do this. You cannot misappropriate funds meant for the vulnerable group in the society.
Precisely.
And then just go away with it. You can't just do something like that and get away with it because maybe you are friends with the president. And that is why I really like the fact that they denied her access to the president. If you were coming to beg, if you were coming to defend yourself, whether you're coming to tell your side of the story, go and tell that to the EFCC. She's meant to appear before the EFCC today. Let's hear what she'll have to say for herself.
The EFCC may not actually divulge anything to anybody. It's a matter that is still under investigation. But like you rightly said, let it not be a situation where this kind of problem is put out there. We hear the EFCC investigating, and later we don't
just
get
to placate the people.
Exactly, just to let a lot of people keep quiet. They've been on it, and you know how Nigerians are. They are so active now in politics. They could actually do their own personal investigation.
Thing, if you ask me.
Exactly, I think that's what actually helped. The 2023 elections. A lot of things were brought to light because of the kind of expose that came up and the participation specifically from the youth, or supposedly the Gen Z. It's a norm that it has never been a norm, but it's a development that I would say, like you said, political consciousness came across all board. All right, now before we wrap up, let's go on to stories outside the shores of Nigeria. Dozens have been killed in Gaza as Blinken urges protection for civilians. Now, with the top U.S. diplomat Antony Blinken in Israel for talks, dozens of deaths are reported in Gaza. The Hamas-run health ministry says 57 deaths were reported in one central Gaza hospital alone. Deaths were also reported in the north of the Strip. Israel says it targeted Hamas sites across Gaza from air and sea in the past 24 hours. While in Khan Yunis in the south, Israel says it eliminated 40 terrorists and found Hamas tunnels and weapons. After meeting Israeli President Isaac Herzog, Blinken's team says he emphasized the need to take all feasible precautions to minimize harm to civilians. Israel launched its offensive in Gaza after a cross-border assault by Hamas more than 3 months ago, which saw 1,300 people killed in Israel. Since the 7th of October, more than 22,000 people, mostly women and children, have been killed in Gaza, and this is according to the health run ministry there. So to wrap up the world news at 12, here again are the top stories.
You heard that Betta Edu has arrived at the EFCC headquarters over the 585 million naira scandal. Court has adjourned Nnamdi Kanu's 1 billion naira suit against the federal government and the DSS until March 4th. The EFCC is set to appeal the 100 million naira fine over violation of Emefiele's rights. And the Interior Minister has responded to contract award allegations and denied affiliations with the company. The federal government is also set to inaugurate a committee to tackle fake degrees today.
And on the stories outside the shores of Nigeria, you heard that dozens killed in Gaza's Blinken urges protection for civilians. That's a wrap on the World News at 12. My name is Esther Achiku.
And my name is Ijeoma Innocent. Do follow our social media handles at VOP903FM. Also, for coverage of your live events and brand news mentions on our news bulletins, do send a mail to news@voiceofthepeople.ng. Good afternoon and thank you for listening. Do stay tuned. Matters with Ikami Jude comes up next.
All right. new dawn, a new story from the station